What's going on, guys? Today I want to go over the EverQuest producer's letter. It's actually 2 weeks old. This video is intended for my subs, not really like the general EverQuest population, because this is 2 weeks old, and the general TLP goer has probably already seen this. Other people have made videos probably on April 2nd when this came out. But my general subs, I believe, aren't too much on the TLPs, or more on the EMU server side. But in light of recent events, it does seem like I will temporarily be splitting my time with Quarm and this server. And I'll probably talk a little more of that at the end after we get all the info out. But I will have a short stint. If everything goes as planned, as my friends would like to do, I will have a short stint on this server in which I will then dedicate 100% of my time back to Quarm. In no way, shape, or form am I going to quit Quarm or take a break from Quarm. I'm just going to split some time. So let's get this newsletter out of the way first, and I'll go a little more in depth with that. But again, this is 2 weeks old. But there was an update just today. I was going to actually make this video, which I was going to try to help and give like my opinions and my criticisms, because Daybreak does listen, and they do change servers after the fact, after the announcement, before the server comes out, but after the initial announcement, based on feedback. They actually did. The last TLP I played on is about to be 5 years ago. When this server launches, it will be 5 years. And that server was supposed to be a pop-locked server, just like Quarm is pop-locked. Now, myself and my real-life friends that I grew up with, we were like, yes, this is our server. Like, we can live here. This is obviously before Quarm, and we were playing P99 Blue at the time. Green didn't exist. And I believe Green didn't exist at the time. That might not be true, actually. I think Green just came out. We might have been on Green in hindsight. Anyways, besides the point. I think I was playing Mangler when Green came out. Anyways, okay, that's probably true. But anyway, so we were playing on Blue or Green, and we decided to play on that server because we could experience Lucklin and Pop. And so before the server came out, due to feedback, they nixed it, and they said, okay, never mind, we won't stop at Pop, we'll continue going all the way. Which, that's what people wanted, but guess what? After Pop came out, not only did I and my friends quit, but 90% of the server quit. That's just how it goes. That's just how it goes. Like, one or two guilds continue on, they absorb all the other, guilds that break apart, and they move on. Including my guild. My guild stuck it out until now. My guild actually said that they are not going to ever play on another EverQuest server again, that would be their last server. But like I said, in light of recent events, they're starting again on this server, and that is the one and only reason that I'm even giving this a thought. So let's go ahead and just get into the rule set here. So it says, now to discuss what many of you have been waiting for, the new TLP server rule set will be expanded start with Resource Hunter, encounter locking, legacy characters, and True Box. True Box will be removed when Planes of Power unlocks. Read below for more details, so we'll go over all of that. Expanded start, basically it starts in Shadows of Lucklin. So it's going to have Velius, Kunark, and Classic, and Lucklin all out at the start. Last time they did this, I believe, was Celos or Celos server. And I also did play there, just by myself, really quickly, while I was playing alongside Mangler. But that was fun and interesting. Anyways, you're going to be stuck in those servers, and you're going to be, or in those expansions, and you're going to be stuck at level 50 for 24 weeks. According to this, there was an update today, and we're going to go over it. But let's get the basics out of the way. It says after that, the level cap will be raised to 60. And then you're 60 with those expansions still for 12 weeks. Then Planes of Power will come out. And then the unlock will be the normal cadence, which is basically like 3 months. Every 3 months an expansion comes out. One thing to note is that when Planes of Power unlocks on TLPs, so does Legacy of Acacia. Legacy of Acacia just adds frog locks and a few zones. And so they just release it like an hour after pop locks. Pop releases. Now, Resource Hunter. The hunt is on for your daily zone-wide bonuses. Every night at midnight Pacific, a limited number of zones in each unlocked expansion will be assigned a random bonus. Find the zones and the bonuses and share them with the community. What the bonuses can be, and I don't think it's all of them, I think it's a random, but like some zones will have increased XP, some zones will have increased loot, some will have increased AAXP if they're a 50+ zone. Some will have increased coin drops, some will have reduced NPC spawn timers, or increased rare NPC spawns, and more. They do some of this in like Diablo. If you still play Diablo 2 or anything like that, they call them like terror zones or something like that. So this is kind of like a new phenomenon that a lot of games are doing. They're doing name reservations. I don't have a lot of time played on one single character. I think I have like almost 60 days played on my main from Eridune, so I guess that puts me here. But if you're a wild man and you have 100 days played, that would put you there. Or if you've completely lost your mind and have 200 days, it's not that hard though. On TLPs, I think once past a certain point, you could just leave your computer on forever and it never AFKs you off. In the early expansions, it AFKs you off because sometimes the servers have queues. Anyways, I don't have any 100-day played characters outside of like World of Warcraft. So more about that. So let's see what else. They have the expanded start. You know, they say people have been requesting it, so on and so forth. You could start with Ixars, you could start with Vashir, you could start with Beast Lords. And so that's kind of like a big thing for a lot of people. It's nice because usually they start in Classic, and then Kunart comes out 3 months later, and everybody pays a fee to change their Necros, their Monks, their shamans all over to Ixar, and you know, typically Daybreak loves that stuff because that's a big source of money for them, is all those race changes. But they're spoiling the community and they're allowing you to skip the payments and just kind of make that stuff right out the gate. Cool. Slow initial locks. Yeah, we talked about that. We talked about all this stuff, in fact. The thing we didn't talk about was encounter locking, which is basically first to engage, right? FTE. While it initially had some controversy looking at the lifespan of Oakwind, it has been seen as a net good for the server. We received good feedback and analyzed the data, and it appears to have ultimately benefited the server enough to try again. So basically, you know, if you're the first to engage a mob or a boss or any sort of thing like that, it should lock it to your group or your raid, and then nobody else can mess with that. There was some shenanigans last time they did this. Like I think on the first day, like a bard grabbed everything in the newbie yard and ran it in circles, and nobody could level there or something. A bunch of shenanigans coming with that. I'm sure there will be more. Legacy characters, we're big fans of this rule set. We tried it, overall we liked it, so we're doing it again. It'll be interesting to see how it works in parallel with the alternate personas feature. So legacy characters is every time you get a max level character, you get an account-wide 10% bonus XP to all of your characters, that character and all your alts. And that stacks. So you have one max level character. So when this server comes out, you're locked at level 50. You're stuck there. So you only have to get to level 50. And then once you're level 50, your alts will get 10% bonus XP. And then you get another level 50, and now your alts get 20% bonus. I mean, your mains get it too, but you know, it's intended to level alts. I don't believe this applies to AA. So when AA does come out, it's not going to work like that. But what also comes with this is like raid gear that's no drop. You can trade it through the shared bank to your other characters. So even though it's a no drop, you can't throw it on the ground, you can't trade it physically to people, but you can put that item in your shared bank, and then if another alt or something can wear it, even though it's no drop, they can pull it out of the bank and wear it. Now there's still, I've heard some people say that, we'll get into it. Keep that in mind, put a pin in it. So then they had the update. This is the update from today. It says, thank you to everyone who provided constructive feedback in regarding to this year's TLP rule set. The game has taken all into its own consideration, the team, sorry, and has decided on the following changes for the expanded start and unlocks. So instead of being stuck at level 50 in Lucklin for 24 weeks straight, with an additional 12 weeks when Pop comes out, they've decided to do this, this is huge. This is what everybody was asking for. This is what I was gonna make a video on actually. But by the time I got home from work, they had already changed it. So, launch with Ruins of Kunark to Shadows of Lucklin at level 50, so that's the same. But what happens is after 8 weeks or 2 months, they are gonna unlock level 51. Why this is a big deal? Because there's nothing to do at level 50 except raid. And if you're not in a guild that can get their shit together and, raid beyond Classic as level 50s, which I'm sure plenty of people can do, but they wanted it to be a challenge, which it still will be. But, imagine going to Ruins of Kunark where you're supposed to be level 60 when you raid, but you're stuck at 50. And then furthermore, you go to Velius, where you should have been 60 for a long time, have all your level 60 spells, actually have your skills leveled up to the max of what it is when it's 60, which is much higher than what it is when it's 50. Spellcasters are going to have a bad time. There's no way around that. This is, I don't know how they're going to, I don't know what there's probably going to be another change. If I could predict the future, there's going to be another edit where they put in the rule set from, I don't know what it is, Vaniki or something, where they have like lowered resists for bosses, because spellcasters at level 50 are just not going to be able to land a spell. It's going to be like Quarm or P99, where spellcasters just can't land shit on bosses. But anyways, why it's important is because at level 51 is when you get AA, alternate advancement. And what those are, if you don't know, if you're from, my crowd, which is the P99 Quarm crowd, and it hasn't gotten there yet on Quarm, is, it's a bunch of like innate skills or sometimes spells that improve your character without leveling your character. So I believe the level is, the XP required, I think, is the equivalent to level 51, but you are level 60, so you could be killing other level 60 mobs or something like that. So they go pretty fast is what I'm getting at, AAs that is, if you're killing like level 60 content and you're putting all your XP into your AAs. But there's like innate skills such as, just raw stats, or there's some skills like, I don't know, Paladin and Shadow Knights can get like a mount for free through it, because as you probably know, in Lucklin or Pop, you do start to get mounts and stuff like that. Or a Necro gets like the innate ability to cast Invis on himself. So I don't have to mem it to my spell bar or anything like that. It could just be like an ability. So it could be on your ability bar and you could just Invis yourself. You don't have to ever mem a spell ever again or anything like that. Stuff like that. Other improvements. MGB, Mass Group Buff, where you do like an AoE group buff. So if you have a normal group buff, like, I don't know, say some sort of like, we'll just say clarity. And instead of casting it on your whole group, you can just do an AoE and anybody standing around you just gets it. And it's kind of a fun thing. It happens a lot in community zones. We'll see this on Quarm eventually, but anyways. So we'll have something to do after 2 months. 2 months is giving you time to level. The sweaties will be there in 2 days, but 2 months will give the casuals time to level and, get your feet wet, get some gear, get into some raids and stuff and whatever, maybe get an alt there, something like that. Depends on how fast you go, how much you play. But then they'll unlock, instead of being stuck at 50 for 24 weeks, after only 8 weeks, they will add an additional thing to do, which is to grind out these AAs. You can have hundreds of AAs. Probably nowadays, thousands, I don't know. But during like the Lucklin Pop era, you could have hundreds of AAs. So After 8 more weeks or 2 more months, they're going to increase you to 55. This is going to help some of the guilds that are struggling, or even just any guild, but mainly like the guilds that are struggling to do like the highest end content, you know, which is going to happen. It's going to be really tough. It's only going to be the sweatiest guilds that are going to be able to down like VT or something like that. So download like the Luckland raids at level 50. But I'm very much looking forward to watching streams or videos of these sweaty guilds racing to do that stuff. Hopefully it happens, and I think this is going to increase the chance of that, because some of the sweaties were looking down on the server because it was going to be boring, stuck at 50 for 24 weeks. But hopefully this brings life and more people to the server, because I want to watch that. I will not participate as I am not sweaty, but I would very much enjoy watching that. So what this is going to do is to help out, obviously, get more skills, you know, get a higher level. Casters, maybe you'll start landing spells more often, not get resisted as much. And just everybody getting more skills, because when you're in your 50s, you know, you start getting spells more often instead of like every, you know, so often. Maybe every other level you're getting spells, stuff like that. So you'll have access to more spells, and obviously just be in general a higher level. And then after 2 more months, you'll be level 60, which will give you, if you play on P99 or if you're on Quarm right now, that's going to give you your whole kit that you're used to at the moment, after being in there for whatever that is, 6 months. And then you'll be caught up to where you should be doing all of these raids. So at this point, pretty much all the guilds should be able to do the raids, because, you know, they'll be caught up in everything. So if your guild was having trouble with any of the raids, you should be caught up to where you can get stuff going now. And then you have 12 weeks of being max level and doing that until the Planes of Power come out, which when Planes of Power comes out, it's going to increase the max level to 65. So you will have to get 5 more levels, more spells, and all that kind of stuff. And then you're stuck there for 12 weeks. But anyways, so this is like a simple change, but it's massive. This actually absolutely changes the server and how everything goes. So that's it. So this is a massive change. Now, once again, I really think that they are going to do another update, something to do with resists, because it really is feeling like casters are going to be dead on arrival. You're going to see guilds, like the sweaty guilds are probably just going to run a gang of like monks, you know what I mean, and stuff like that, because monks are going to be sick DPS. Melee are going to be, you know, doing a lot of DPS while casters are struggling. But we'll see how it goes. Obviously, you're going to need tanks and other stuff, but you know what I mean. The majority of your DPS is just, you know, going to be like monks. So we'll hopefully they do something to help casters out a little bit, but we'll see. I don't know. Now, what I was saying is, now that the announcements are out of the way, I'll talk a little bit about myself and some thoughts. So what I had heard some people saying is take the level requirements off of the raid gear. So when you're stuck at level 50 and you do some of these raids, the gear has level requirements, like maybe level 55 required to wear the gear. So you're doing raids and you can't get the gear. So some people have said just remove the level requirement completely. But I think there is a problem with that, and it comes back to the legacy character situation, because you can put that gear in your shared bank and then trade it to an alt. So if they don't have any level requirements at all, you can, you know, on your raiding character, you can get geared, throw it all in your shared bank, and then you start a level 1, and now you have a level 1 fully kitted out with raid gear. I don't know. Is that how it is on the like the Mischief server? Is that how it goes? I don't know. I'm not into that at all, but maybe that's how it is. I'm not sure, because all that shit's free trade and stuff. Is there still level requirements on it? I think there is. Anyways, that's the only problem I see. Now they can lower the requirement. I think I heard the Brit Canucks say to lower the level requirement to 46, because that's when you can enter raids. And then if they lower all of it down to 46, that's below the level 50 mark, which is what you're capped at. And then that will make it not so crazy for your alts. You can't wear it at level 1, 10, 20, 30, whatever, but you can put it on the alt once they get to level 46. I think that makes a lot of sense. So, but that's like a big change, right? They have to like go in there and change it. It's probably going to change it for like all the servers because, you know, indie companies stuff. So I don't know how plausible that is for them, even though it is the right thing to do. I don't know if that'll get done. So that's a big worry, is we're going to be getting raid gear that we can't put on. So that's like, you know, it's kind of a big deal. Now for me personally and the server, so basically what happened is, you know, I was in a guild in 2020. I raided hardcore for about 2 years through COVID. It was from the server came out like 2 months after COVID hit. COVID hit in February. Server came out in May or whatever it is. So whatever that is, 3 months, and everybody was at home. There was like, I'm not even exaggerating, I'm dead serious when I say that there was queues that were like 6 to 8 hours to get on the server. If you try to log in at like 2 or 3 p.m. West Coast time, you're in a queue for like 6 to 8 hours on like for the first like 3 months for like all of Classic. It was insane. Anyways, so I got into a guild. I raided from Classic all the way through Plains of Power. Lost Dungeons of Norath came out. I raided a little bit during that, and I was like, okay, this is it for me. I'm done. I have zero interest personally in going beyond Plains of Power. I am a Classic Andy in the sense that I do love P99 and I love it going to Velius, but there is a big part of me and my childhood group of friends has a lot of nostalgia for Lucklin and Pop, but that's where it ends. I did poke my head around as a youngin' when it was live. I did poke my head around. We did play in Legacy of Acacia, Lost Dungeons of Norath. We did play through those, but we don't really have too much nostalgia for those, just through Pop really. And then Omens of War and what's the other one? Omens of War and Gates of Discord. Jesus, it took me a while to think of that. Omens of War and Gates of Discord came out. We poked our heads around. I messed around on a Berserker a little bit, but EQ2 had come out. World of Warcraft had come out, and EQ1 was just kind of meh. So obviously I've come back to it, but I don't play beyond that. I don't play that era. So whenever I do play on TLPs, I've played on a handful of TLPs. The last TLP I've played on seriously is Eridune. I did max out a character on Yellonak, but you know, my group of friends and I, we tried to re-roll it. We're like, yeah, let's do it again. Let's go again. We leveled our characters. We got to max level and we were just like, nah, let's just go back to P99. So we went back to P99. We just didn't feel the spark on Yellonak. But you know, it's been 5 years since Eridune now, and really the main catalyst of all of this is that guild that I spent those 2 years raiding with so much that said they would never reroll again are in fact rerolling. They sent out a Discord ping. My friends, we all saw the Discord ping. We started talking and everybody's like, man, like, do we really want to give up this opportunity to play with the old guild? It's gonna be easy, it's gonna be familiar. You're just gonna jump on, level up characters and raid. And you know, like, I don't think we're gonna play casually. We're not gonna level up a bunch of alts and stuff like this. I'm gonna continue to play Quarm, and Quarm is my main server. Quarm is where I play now. Quarm is where I will play when I'm done with this server. This server's shelf life for me is going to be no more than a year, give or take, but no more than a year, because you're stuck. What was it? You're stuck. You see the layout right here. 8 weeks, 8 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks. I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, that's it for me. I'm not going beyond that. Plains of Power drops. We beat Plains of Power, and I'm done. That's just where I like to stop. Now, I know many of you will probably be like, hey, there's a bunch of good expansions after that. Omens of War or Gates of Discord, one of them has like really challenging raids. They're fun, whatever. I believe you. That's great. It's not for me. I just don't care, and I don't want to play it. So this is what it means to me, is Velius just dropped on Quarm. So to me, like this server is gonna come and go almost within Velius. Like by the time Lucklin drops, I'll almost be just pretty much done with this server for me. So I think it works pretty perfectly. I'm gonna share my time. I'm gonna continue to level up some characters on Quarm and play on Quarm, but I'm gonna do my raiding and grouping with some of my real life childhood homies on this server. We don't even know the name of the server, so I haven't said the name of it. It's not out yet, so I just keep calling it this server. So this TLP. That's it. One of my biggest regrets in YouTube and EverQuest is that I never recorded any of my Aerodune stuff. You know, when I played on Aerodune, I had like 6 of my real life friends that I grew up with from being a tiny ass lad before EverQuest even came out for some of them, for some of these friends. And, you know, we grew up, we played EverQuest, and we grew up and got older. We played on Aerodune, and we raided everything. I'm telling you, we raided every single raid, every single boss. We cleared everything you can think of week after week after week, and I recorded 0 of it, basically. So that was a big regret, you know. And some of my friends, like none of them make videos. It's just me. But, you know, some of them like hit me up and they're like, man, I really wish that you recorded some of those raids and you captured all of us playing, like when we downed Quarm for the first time or something like that, you know? How cool would it have been if we had that and we could just like, you know, it's already been 5 years now, pretty much. You know, so what if in like 10 years, you know, we could just go back to YouTube and just like watch that raid and kind of get that hit of nostalgia and all of that. And I was like, yeah, that sucks. You know, I wish I did that. So I look at this as one more opportunity to play with the old gang, play with the old guild, and record some raids and some stuff like that. And it's really different than raiding on, I don't know how Lucklin and Quarm are going to be on Project Quarm. Lucklin and Pop are going to be on Project Quarm, but what I do know is on Quarm, we downed, what was it? Trachanon? We downed Trachanon in like literally 10 seconds. That's crazy. If you're a spellcaster, you can't even cast like a spell. I'm a Necro. If I cast a dot, it ticks once and he dies. That's crazy. It's not like that on TLPs. Even though TLPs are like easier servers, which they are, the boss encounters are, they're geared differently. You know, they've played with stuff. They've given them more life. They've messed around with stuff. So the raiding experience is different. It's not going to die in 10 seconds. You know what I mean? At least I don't think so. Especially now that you're level 50. Anyways, I've wasted too much of your time. So one last thing. I'm going to pull up. This is my old Necro from Aerodune. And so this is for the homies on Quarm, on Project Quarm. I'm going to show you some gear. This guy retired like a couple weeks after Plains of Power was done. Plains of Power finishes, Lost Dungeons of Norath comes out. I played for like 2 weeks. I raided like a couple Lost Dungeons of Norath raids, and that was it. The only thing I got from Lost Dungeons of Norath is this thing right here, which is an idol. This is a new item, or a new item slot that comes out with that expansion. I just want to show you guys some stuff that's going to be coming out on Quarm. This is not, but everything else I show you is. But look at how absolute bananas these stats are. So this is the idol, and then there's a gem slot in the idol, an augmentation, and this is that. But look at how insane these stats are. So I know a lot of you have pretty much just played Project 1999, and so you didn't play like Lucklin or Pop back in the day, and you haven't played it recently because you've played on P99 pretty much. But now that Quarm's out and you've moved to Quarm, in the future you are going to experience Lucklin and Pop. So I'm just going to show you some gear because it might blow your mind if you haven't really looked into it. So naturally I was doing the upper echelon of raiding time, the elemental planes, anything and everything, right? But here's like a couple of my weapons. You can see the craziness, like the stats, like 135 mana, 135 hit points, 20 intelligence, 15 stamina, so on and so forth. You can see it, hopefully. Same thing over here. Everything has like 20 SVs. They also have these effects. Like this one has Brilliance of Row. Decreases the chance that you will fizzle for 2 hours, it looks like. Might be 2 minutes. Tiny Companion on that one. Check out this range slot. Absolutely bananas range slot. 160 mana, 145 hit points, tons of stats and resists. Comes with a clicky. That was 2 hours because this one's 2 minutes. Comes with a clicky snare. So you don't have to waste mana or do anything. You could just click it like a clicky. Let's take a look at like the shoulders and this headpiece. These are bananas. Absolutely bananas. I think this headpiece is from Plane of Time. This one over here has Time Burn. Increases the duration of your detrimental spells by 20%. You can imagine I'm a Necro, so all my dots are detrimental, so they're 20% longer. Increases the damage of magic-based direct spells by up to 35%. Imagine having that as like a wizard. Your nukes are like 35%. Let's check out these boots. And maybe this mask. Super crazy stuff. Again, crazy stats. Speeding Thought reduces cast time of your spells by 18%. That's huge. This one has increases the damage of fire-based direct damage spells by up to 30%. Again, crazy for like mages and wizards, but I have some fire spells as a Necro. Sometimes you sacrifice the stats, so this has shitty stats, right? This is actually something you might find on Quarm. But you look here at Burning Affliction, increases the damage done by long-term detrimental spells by up to 20%. Massive. So they're 20% longer, and they do 20% more damage. But you can see here that this bonus will decay on spells over level 60. Most of my spells are up to level 60. You do get some spells from 60 to 65, obviously, but it only decays. You still get some benefit from it on those spells. But anything that's up to 60, which is probably at least half of them, are getting the full effect. One other thing that I'll show, well, this robe is actually from Luckland. So you can see, like, these are really good stats. This robe, I believe, drops off of Aten Ha-Ra, which is the last boss of the expansion. Has a skill mod, evocation 10%. Evocation is my dots. Pretty crazy there. 7 mana regen, notice. 45 AC on a frickin' robe. Pretty wild. There was one thing that I was thinking that I wanted to show. What was it? I don't even remember. Oh, maybe these pants. Yeah, check these pants out. 225 mana, 220 hit points, 32 AC, and bananas. 10 hit points regen. That's pretty fat for a Necro. 10 hit point regen on a Necro. Reduces the cast time of spells by 23%. That's it. Just crazy. These items will be on Quarm eventually. Luckland's going to come out. Some of these items are from Luckland, probably. I mean, these robes are. This is off of the very last boss of Luckland. But most of this gear is from Elemental Planes and Plane of Time. Which is right over there. That's Plane of Time. Pretty crazy. Pretty damn crazy. That's some stuff, like, so if you haven't played Luckland or Pop, I just kind of wanted to show that, because that's actually crazy. Let's see. This character's birthday was May 28th, 2020. So that was the day that Eredune came out. It's going to be 5 years the day that this new server comes out. And I have 56 days played, so I will get the 40 plus days name reservation. I don't know if I'm even going to reserve this name. I don't know what I'm going to play. I'm not even 100% playing. It's likely that I will play a little bit over there, but nothing's set in stone. We'll see. Just wanted to talk about the server because if I do, and it's starting to seem likely now. And so if I do / when I do, just kind of wanted to clue you guys in on that, let you guys know about the server. I know some of you play TLPs who watch. I know some of you play live who watch. And I know some of you don't play EverQuest at all who watch. So I just kind of wanted to put it out there and let you guys know, just, you know, be transparent with what I'm thinking. And some people are going to hate it. Some people are going to like it. And so I'm sorry. And also you're welcome. I don't know. Hopefully everybody's cool. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to continue to play on Quarm. Quarm's my main server. This server will be like a flash in the pan. It's gonna come, it's gonna go. I'll only be splitting my time between this server and Quarm for about a year at most. Like, there's a chance all my friends are like, screw this and quit, or there's a chance we don't even start playing. Anything could happen, but Quarm's my forever server, my retirement server. As long as nothing crazy happens, the servers go down or whatever. But in that fact, if that happened, I wouldn't stay here. I have no plans on going beyond Planes of Power, so I would end up back on P99. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next video.